Hi, I'm David Goforth with the Cooperative Extension Successful Gardener. During the winter, a lot of times we'll take soil tests. Gardeners should take a soil test, particularly when you're working with a new soil, because you don't know the history of the soil, you don't know what happened to the soil, and you don't know the composition of the soil as far as the nutrients that are in there. And so, particularly in Cabarrus County here, where we have such a variation in soil, you may have soil that's one way here, and 50 foot away it may change to a completely different color. And so we want to take a soil test. It's actually a soil analysis, but the first thing you need to do is come by the office and get the soil boxes and the soil forms. This is what you'll pick up here will be the box to actually put the soil in. Then you will have the sample to fill out here, and then you will have a mailer. This bottom part is a mailer that we use. We can mail 4 of these to the North Carolina Department of Agriculture, which is actually a separate organization from ours, as far as those are the people that will actually do the analysis on your test. But they'll send you a report back, and then I'll be glad to go over the report with you. To take a test, once we get this here, we'll need to fill it out as step number 1. We want to put our name and address on the box right here, and then it asks for a sample ID. The sample ID is something that you are generating yourself. And normally what I'll do is start off with, my first one will be 101. And I'll normally start taking samples closer to the house and get farther away from the house. So my next one out would be 202. And sometimes I'll try to put a letter in there, like if the first sample is a garden, it'll be 101 garden. But I also take and sort of draw it out on a map, because it may be 2 or 3 weeks before you get this back. And if you're like me, you may not remember exactly where the samples were taken if you don't have it written down somewhere. So draw the map, get your address on here, and then at the same time, go to this form right here. This also asks for your name and address, which is self-explanatory, and it asks for the sample number, which is the same sample number on your box. And then it will ask, what crop are you going to plant? And this is very critical. It's one of the things that people will leave out, and they'll just send a letter back and say, we need the answer to column number 5 here, which asks for which crop. The answers are on the back, actually. The numbers that you would need are on the back. For example, garden is a 024, a lawn is a 026, and you would want to put that crop code up here to get the soil analysis done by the North Carolina Department of Agriculture. To actually do a soil test, what you need is to get out there or to take the soil is to get a shovel, which we've got a shovel right here, or some tool to dig with, and also a bucket. You need a plastic bucket. It shouldn't be a galvanized bucket, because the galvanizing may throw the test off a little bit. So if you'll get a plastic bucket and a shovel and go out to take your first sample. Now, what a lot of people ask is, how many samples do I need to take? And basically, if your yard looks pretty much the same, you know, same color of soil, same history and everything, you can take 1 sample. A lot of times I'll say take 1 sample from the front yard, 1 from the backyard. Or if you've got an obvious color change, you can take 1 sample here, 1 sample over there. Farmers, we normally sample on about once every 5 acres for farmers, but on homeowners, a lot of times you can just do 1 in the front yard, 1 in the backyard, and that'll work. Now you want to get a representative amount of soil, or representative soil, so you don't go over here where there's been something different, a lot of organic matter or a compost pile or something like that. You want to just go out and you want to take the soil, and you don't want to take it all from one place. You want to take several different places and mix it. So for example, right here, and tend to rake off the old organic matter here. They'll just pick it out, you know, sticks and stones and stuff like that up there. And what I want to do is take a shovel there and kick that out of the way. Now here in a garden, I want to go down about 6 or 8 inches, because the tiller here goes down about 6 or 8 inches. But on a lawn, you really don't have to go down but about 4 inches. And what I'll do is I'll take an even amount of soil. I want an even amount from top to bottom, so this is about the thickness here. And then I want to break it off so where it's like this, the even amount from top to bottom. And I want to get about the same amount from 4 different places. And once I do that, I will put them in this soil container here, or this container here. I'll mix them up, and then I will dump it in this box. I'm not sure who designed these boxes, but they are somewhat aggravating. But if you'll fold them together like this and work with them, you can make a box form out of it. Like so. It takes a pint of soil. They talk about a fill line on there. I would ignore that and fill it all the way up. Sometimes I've done it to the fill line, and they've sent me a note back and say you don't have enough soil in here. So just go ahead and fill this completely full and put it together. You don't want to take the soil when it's wet for a couple of reasons. Number one is it will be harder to take out here, harder to mix together. It'll get the box soggy and it may fall apart in shipping. But the other thing is, once they get it there, they'll set it up and let it dry for 2 or 3 days before they run it through the machines that this works on. So make sure that the weather's a little bit dry. We've had some good times this winter to take soil samples. And then once you send it up there, they will send you a report back. And like I said, when you get the first report, just give me a call at the office there and I'll go over it with you and help you see what's important. They will be checking for the pH, and that's going to be important. They also check for phosphorus and potassium levels. And a lot of times, particularly phosphorus, our levels are real low here in Cabarrus County. And once you know if they're low and how much you need to put there, that is very helpful to you in getting the soil right. Normally, I would say continue to soil sample every year until you get the soil to where you need it. Once you get the phosphorus levels up high enough and you get the pH right, you don't have to sample every year. You can go to every 3rd year or something like that, just sort of keep it in check once you've done that. But for the first few years, it's a very important analysis, and it's the only way we can know the mineral content and the only good way of knowing the pH. A lot of people ask me about, what about these tests that I can buy in the stores, these pH meters and things like that. Well, the pH meters we have in the stores are very cheap, and they can only tell the pH within about 1. For example, if you get a measurement of 6, you're not sure whether you've got an actual 5 or you've got a 7 or you've got a 6. It can have a variation of about 1. Well, this analysis from NCDA will only have a variation of about 0.3. And that way, if we get a reading of 6, we know that we're between 5.7 and 6.3. And that can give us enough accuracy to actually make some good decisions off that. You know, if the difference was 5 to 7, you don't know whether you really need lime, if it was like it would if it was a 5, or if it's a 7, you really don't need lime. So I think this test here for the price is a fairly good bargain for people. It's actually obviously tax dollars that pays for it down the line somewheres, but there's no cost to you other than the cost of mailing it down there. So a very good way to spend a little time during the winter to get ready to go on your garden or your lawn next time. If you have questions about soil tests, don't hesitate to give me a call at the office. And until next time, plan and plant for a better world.